Hi.
Hello.
We're in Ray Franz's Crisis of Conscience. He's continuing in the chapter on the governing body. It says, the governing body at that time was in reality both a judicial court and also, because its decisions and definitions had force of law for all Jehovah's Witnesses, a legislative body. It was a governing body in the sense that the Sanhedrin of Bible times might be called such, its functions being similar. Just as all major questions involving Jehovah's named people of that period were brought to the Sanhedrin in Jerusalem for settlement, so with the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses in Brooklyn. But it was not an administrative body in any sense of the word. The administrative authority and responsibility rested exclusively with the corporation president, Nathan H. Knorr. I had not expected this because the same year of my appointment, Vice President Franz had given a speech, later carried in the December 15, 1971 Watchtower, in which he described the role of the governing body, contrasting this with that of the corporation, the Watchtower Bible Tract Society, spoken of by some as the tail wagging the dog talk. Its language was unusually bold and frank, stating again and again that the corporation was simply an agency, a temporary instrument used by the governing body.
Now, this is a direct quote from that article in the December 15th, 1971 Watchtower, from Fred Franz's talk. Quote, this worldwide evangelizing organization is not tailored according to any present-day legal corporation that may be required under the laws of man-made political governments that now face destruction in the war of the great day of God the Almighty at Armageddon. No legal corporation of earth shapes the evangelizing organization or governs it. Rather, it governs such corporations as mere temporary instruments useful in the work of the great theocrat. Theocrat here spelled with a capital T. Hence, it is patterned according to his design for it. It is a theocratic organization ruled from the divine top down, and top is capitalized as if it's another designation for God, and not from the rank and file up. The dedicated baptized members of it are under theocracy, also capitalized. Earthly legal corporations will cease when the man-made governments that chartered them perish shortly. That puts the corporation in its place, apparently.
We're still quoting from that article. So the Society's voting members see that this governing body could most directly use that administrative agency as an instrument in behalf of the work of the faithful and discreet slave class, by having members of the governing body on the board of directors of the Society. They recognize that the Society is not the administrative body, but is merely an agency for administering matters. Hence, the Society's voting members do not desire that there be any basis for conflict and division. They do not want to cause anything like a situation where the administrative agency controls and directs the users of that agency, which user is the governing body as representing the faithful and discreet slave class. No more so than to have the tail wag a dog instead of the dog's wagging its tail. A legal religious instrument, according to Caesar's law, should not attempt to direct and control its creator. Rather, the creator of the legal religious instrument should control and direct it.
I think the word you used when we prepared this was gobbledygook.
Yeah, it's this word salad or whatever. It's just like so mixed up.
But the basic point can't be missed, namely that the governing body is not accountable to the corporation, but rather the reverse.
Mm-hmm.
But look, just lost the page. Hang on.
But is that a reality?
Is that reality? Ray looks at this and says these were powerful expressions. The problem was that they presented a picture that was completely contrary to fact. The governing body did not control the corporation, not at the time that the aforementioned talk was given by the vice president, nor at the time the material was published, nor for some 4 years thereafter. So at this point, the governing body concept has just come in. I was there. I was baptized that year when they announced it at the assembly.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it wasn't in control of the corporation, but rather vice versa.
But is this like retracing your steps and trying to put it as if, because now when they talk about the governing body, there's always been a governing body.
Yeah, retrojecting the concept of a governing body into their past and then into all the Christian past. Yeah.
So they're starting it right at the beginning, trying to rewrite their history.
Yeah. And then he concludes this passage with the picture presented eventually did come to be true, but only as the result of a very drastic adjustment, one unpleasantly fraught with heated emotions and considerable division. Strange as it may seem to most Jehovah's Witnesses today, the kind of governing body described in that talk had never existed in the whole history of the organization. It took over 90 years for it to come into being, and its present existence covers only a brief span of 8 years. This is written around 1983-84. I will explain why I make such a statement and why it is factual. And then he entitles the next section, the three monarchs. I wonder who they could be. Mm-hmm. We'll put in a link to a video we did, I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago now. JW Org Corporate Pyramid Reflects Pagan Triads. And if you get the chance, read the description in that video. Watch the video and look at the description, because these thoughts were a revelation to me when I first came to these conclusions while I was still an elder, which is, if you don't, it's ironic that the Watchtower is continually referring to the Trinity negatively by comparing it with the triads that exist out there. But if you look more closely at those triads in pagan religions, you realize they're far more like the structure of the Watchtower than they are like the traditional understanding of the Trinity within Christendom. Check it out anyway, see what you think, and you're free to disagree. See you next time.